back to Lori's life. I hope I'm in the picture because I have no idea what I'm filming or if it's even going. Let me check. All right, I have no idea what's in the picture, but it is in fact going. So let's do the archetypes of cups today. I'll probably upload this after work. So I have a long way to go. And they're doing construction. Not really looking forward to that. But work is work. Let's have good vibes. Right. So nobody really comments. I usually only get about 4 views initially, and then maybe people stumble upon these. I don't know. The first archetype of cups is Paige. Hope that's in the frame. Alright. I don't want to have to redo this whole video. Anyway, this card has traditionally entitled the page, but in some modern decks appear as a princess in this suit. Modern. This card represents a poetic, mystical, emotionally open young person, still tender and idealistic, given to flights of imaginative fantasy. This energy is exquisitely refined and fine-tuned. It may be that a sense of being grounded in reality has not yet entirely set in, kind of like a 3-year-old, such that he or she is easily tossed about by external forces and events. This person must, so they're not taken seriously, I guess. This person must work to achieve a stronger will and a more calculating mind to balance and protect all that wonderful sensitivity. In the reverse position, when the Page of Cups card is reversed, it suggests that those around this page or princess have been tolerant of his or her self-indulgent feelings. In reality, they don't owe you this service. If you impinge on their good nature too much, you may be unpleasantly surprised by the results. Be sure you start making their desire and well-being a higher priority. Sounds like they're about to have a temper tantrum. In the advice position, the Page of Cups in some decks a princess. I can't believe they feel they have to add that in the book. Seriously. In this position, advises you to study the best ways to be of service. Strive to discern what would give more pleasant comfort and emotional security. Then provide it. Understand that what is happening has little or nothing to do with you personally. The best you can do is to offer support and listen closely. Make sure you understand what is needed and serve the situation with loyalty. Look at individuals around you as the embodiment of the divine and try to fulfill each one's needs. Be unconcerned with the outcome. Later, you will understand why you needed to be in this position. Okay. Knight of Cups. This card is traditionally entitled the Knight, but in some modern decks appear as the Prince. Traditionally, this card in this suit has pictured a homecoming, portraying a return to his true heart's home after a long journey. Like the prodigal son, he may be returning after long estrangement from all he holds dear. His taste for adventure is exhausted. There is no more romanticizing of battles or travel in strange lands. Now he wants to go where he will be recognized, wanted, and welcome, where he doesn't have to fight at every turn. He has the attitude of one who has become older and wiser, the prodigal son. In the reverse position, the Knight of Cups reverse continually looks for excuses or a way to blame his problems on someone else. He is not mature enough to realize that until he takes personal responsibility for the way things are in his life, he will continue to add to conflict rather than exercising his natural helping and healing powers. In the advice position, the Knight of Cups, in some decks, a Prince. In this position, advises that you jump into your new situation with both feet. Get involved with what is happening in the present. Think no more about the route you had to travel to get back here. There is no need to be cavalier about what seems familiar. Look deeply at the underlying values here. You may find that they represent something you mistakenly reject in the past. Be humble enough to look at things through new eyes. At a deep level, your heart and soul are being nourished. Don't be tempted to run away again. This is where you belong. Your entire journey was designed to bring you home with new appreciation. So that means to trust, I guess. Queen of Cups. Traditionally, representing the energy of a queen, this card traditionally portrays a sensitive, vulnerable, omniscient woman who offers unconditional love. She is supremely empathetic, sometimes to a fault. Her caring nature exposes her to everybody else's emotions and needs. This person sometimes has difficulty identifying her own best interests in the midst of her responsiveness to others. As a result, she sometimes appears slightly unfocused or perhaps overwhelmed. Filled as she is with spirits, she represents the Grail Queen as well as the goddess of the family. So the matriarch, in other words. In the reverse position, the Queen of Cups reverse suggests that you Stop all efforts to dull your pain or distract yourself from it. Looking the other way is not going to help you anymore. Neither is trying to rationalize away or control the situation. You must be emotionally honest. Be honest with yourself and others who may be involved in what you are going through. If you continue to anesthetize the truth, it won't rise to the surface and be released. Coping strategies that rely on distracting yourself from reality only serve to entrench the problem. So don't sweep it under the rug, I guess. In the advice position, the Queen of Cups in this position encourages you to be generous, kind, and forgiving. Support the ability of others to get what they want. Nevertheless, remember, as with anyone in a caretaking position, you have a fine line to walk. You do not want your loved ones or teammates to become complacent or dependent, as if they can take your support for granted with little or no consideration for your needs. Cultivate an awareness of love as freely giving and receiving in the process. Yeah, so like people who are looking for negative will find negative. If you look for love, you'll find love. Help clarify the important difference between receiving energy and taking it. Yeah, so like don't give more than you get and don't get more than you give. And that's easy when you're young to get more than you give because you just haven't learned to give or you don't have enough to give. Do not allow your willingness to give to be misunderstood or abused as if it was a weakness. So yeah, like some people are uncomfortable receiving, and I say, look, it's your turn to get, and you have given so much, you know. So yeah, you gotta be aware. King of Cups. Traditionally representing the energy of a king, this card usually portrays a watery background with a man seated on a throne, holding the cup of mystery in his hands. Occasionally, his cup is fulminating like the mouth of a volcano. That's a new word to me. Emanating light, but never boiling over. The man in this card doesn't need to speak to communicate strength, passion, and commitment. Sometimes he is robbed like a priest or shaman. Intense and intuitive, he is a force to be reckoned with. In the reverse position, the King of Cups reversed is bitterly holding a grudge or some hatred, withholding his natural prosperity for forgiveness and blessing. Propensity for forgiveness and blessing. This reversal creates an emotional vacuum around him and deprives him of serenity. His prodigious powers, another word I don't know, of empathy and compassion are wasted in favor of rehashing the past and feeling sorry for himself. Dispel the storm clouds, admit the hurt, forgive and embrace, let the sunshine and peace and benevolence back into the picture. So it's kind of saying, don't be sour, sort of. And some people, it's very hard for them to admit they were wrong or they were at fault. So they hold on and become bitter. That's a bad way to be. Women do that too. So it's not just the king. That's just a sort of archetype. Could be a man or a woman. So in the advice position, the King of Cups in this position advises that you closely examine your conscience and bring your personal mission into alignment with what is best for everyone. You can then step into your community or situation with integrity and the ability to communicate the highest wisdom. As this sweetens the environment, others will be inspired to raise their own motives and intentions to match yours. You will be providing an important kind of leadership that uses strong reassurance to help everyone work together. The most persuasive thing about you is the example and generous behavior that you exhibit. So, being a good role model, much more powerful than preaching alone. Yeah, sometimes it might seem easier to just explain, or be sort of self-righteous and preachy, but I think things are learned more internally by children or, team members, to learn by example, maybe when you're young, to look up to somebody. So yeah, that's a good message. So that's the end of Cups. Next week we start with Swords. Ooh. So yeah, hope everyone has a great weekend. I might do a piano video this weekend. I know I said I was going to, and I got a little footage, but it wasn't me practicing, which was my intention. It was my granddaughter practicing. And it's kind of comical, but by the time I realized what she was doing and picked up the phone to film her, she realized, me and her dad stopped talking and looked up to see us, and she stopped what she was doing. But it's kind of funny. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss it. All right, take care. That so reminds me of having an adult move back home. They kind of subconsciously feel like a child, but there's resentment because they know they're an adult, but it plays out in negative ways sometimes. They don't quite grow up, but they feel in their mind they're grown up. And not that they act immature, but it's sometimes they might. But I was seeing a podcast from Oprah Winfrey, and not that I ever watch her or anything, but it was about family members alienating each other, and sometimes for no apparent reason. And sometimes you just have to accept it. Sometimes it's for years. Sometimes it is somebody's fault. Sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. So, the complexities are different now, where a while ago, family cherished each other and looked out for each other and saw the benefit of having each other. So now they're letting go and not trying because they're sort of snowflakes. I don't know. That's a word I'll pick. And not like, being a team player, in other words. So that's a sad situation, but sometimes you just gotta go with it and not overstep or be a hover parent, and that's I guess like a instinct, because they'll always be your child, but I don't know. Yeah, it's complex. Just, I've been praying on it, like, help me to say the right things, in other words, and not hurt feelings. So